Hey guys, welcome back to Coin Knowledge. So today we're going to be talking about a new gaming project, kind of an ecosystem that did launch here recently, over the summer here, and a couple catalysts and, notable backers and unique elements of this ecosystem that we're going to cover in today's video. I'm going to give you guys my opinion here on what I think of this project. Again, it is a newer gaming TGE, so a newer altcoin that has launched very recently. We've seen some new gaming altcoin launches do, pretty well, holding, support levels and going sideways. And we've seen a lot of other ones kind of just fall into a red sea of abyss. But we'll take a look at Ancient8 here, which is the project today, and give you guys my opinions. And as always, if you guys are a fan of crypto gaming and content like this, or if you get value out of this kind of stuff, if you guys can subscribe to the channel and like the videos, your support means literally everything. I really appreciate that. But if we get into Ancient8 here, first of all, we'll kind of go through the website, their ecosystem. What is Ancient8, and then we'll look into fundraising, where the early investors are at, their vesting schedule, and just where I see Ancient8 going, in the future here. So obviously their website, I think their website looks pretty clean right off the bat. They say built on the edge of gaming. So Ancient8, it is a gaming-focused, community-driven Ethereum Layer 2, built to onboard a bunch of Web3 gamers, obviously. So right off the bat, we can see that the main thing I think people are going to focus on is that it is a gaming blockchain, a gaming L2 here. Now, they do say that they are built on the Optimism superchain. So we've seen other projects like GameSwift be, I believe, if I remember that right, incorporated into the superchain. Also, Ancient8 leverages the OP stack, layer 2 tech to offer blockchain games, the best of Ethereum, with no code changes needed at a significantly lower cost than like Ethereum gas fees, which could be bullish. Now, obviously, I don't think that their mainnet is live. I mean, this project, as far as the altcoin launch, I think they've been building longer, but the altcoin launch only happened, about a month ago, mid-July of 24. So, the mainnet hasn't gone live, and we look at other projects like GameSwift that's taken, over a year to even get to the testnet from when they launch. I think projects like this, I always look at, if their mainnet is live, when the mainnet is supposed to go live, because I think that could be a bullish catalyst as far as like whenever there's a gaming actual chain. So, but I digress. We'll cover that maybe in the future. But everything a gaming studio needs, supported by Ancient8 Collective, launched with Dojo, on board with Space 3. These are all their ecosystem, which we'll be taking a look at here, built by the Ancient8 Collective. This is kind of like their ecosystem, which we'll take a look at. But again, I just want to go through the main homepage of the website because I like going through products' websites, because when retail or new investors, again, I hate the term retail, but just when new investors start getting flung into the space, they're going to look at projects' websites. That's even if they make it that far. And a good landing page or homepage of a project's website does have a pretty good impact. That's why we cover them, and it just gives you, again, a quick synopsis of what the project is. But we see here a lot of photos. Potentially their team looks like it's doxed. A lot of either backers or funders, which we'll get into in their white paper. A lot going on there. They do have their LinkedIn's down here, where you can actually find the team. So looks like it's a docs team. That is something that I strongly believe that is a big, huge component and element plus side to any gaming project specifically. Now, if we look at their ecosystem, what's going on with Ancient8's ecosystem, so you can actually take a look. They have, games, growth tools, dApps. We'll go through all of them. So if we start out with their games here, they have a bunch of these like little games kind of building in their ecosystem. Nothing overly crazy in my opinion, but they have them. If we look at their growth tools, so this is where, again, a lot of like developers are probably going to use if they decide to, use Ancient8 ecosystem to build on. So they have their Space 3, so the leading Web3 gaming publisher, reshaping the distribution of Web3 games. They have their Reniverse, which is a Web3 enabled immersive in-game advertisement and product placement, which I think is actually a pretty cool part of their ecosystem. Then obviously they have their gaming, which is a community where gamers connect, discover games, so kind of like a platform. Then their Ancient8 ID. So again, we've seen this with like stuff like Immutable's Passport or GameSwift ID, where it's you can use Ancient8 ID to play against all the other games. It's coming soon, but these other ones I believe are live in their ecosystem. And then the Gasu network, which is a first creator DAO that empowers the next generation of content creators as well. Look at their dApps. We can see they have their wallet, Dojo, which is actually another project or another aspect we can cover later. Mason, Coin98, Cabbage Swap. Again, this is all part of their ecosystem here as well. So pretty cool there. Infrastructure. They have, this is just what they're built on. So Optimism, Conduit, Celestia, I think is at the backbone of it, which we actually look at their white paper. So you can actually say in the white paper, what is Ancient8 chain? It's a gaming focus, again, community layer 2, powered by the OP stack, and enhanced with Celestia as well. So pretty bullish there. I am bullish on gaming ecosystems, hubs, actual gaming blockchains, stuff like Myria with their L2, GameSwift with their mainnet as well, and then there's a lot of other projects like Playable has their subnet on Avalanche. Gunzilla's probably gonna have their subnet, I believe. But you know what I mean. I'm more bullish on stuff like this at this time in the market than I would be on individual games. So that's why I do like Ancient8 over, again, newer individual gaming projects that have launched this year that have a 10x, a 15x, and token dilution. But we'll get there. If we look at I believe their backers, this is where it gets pretty cool. In January 22, they actually did raise $4 million in seed round. And if you look at their backers here, they have huge backers. Dragonfly Capital, Pantera, Hashed, Coinbase Ventures. We're going to touch on that here in a little bit. Alameda Research. Again, Animoca Brands, Radium, GuildFi, Cypher, Chromia. A lot of these big names we actually have seen a lot in other gaming projects. Though you're going to start, maybe recognizing a lot of these bigger names that you actually want to look out for as far as backers or funders go. And then in June, about 6 months later, they raised an additional $6 million in a private round of financing. So, again, this is back in 2022. They raised $10 million in the bear market. So, this was not... January was, at the peak or the tail end, but June, that was after, I believe, Luna crash, everything, and they still managed to raise $6 million at that time after that Black Swan event. So pretty impressive in my opinion. So it shows that the project is serious. They were able to raise that $10 million in a bear market. This isn't raising money in a bull run. It's very different. So I want to point that out there. Now if we take a look back at their CoinMarketCap listing here, so we can see that right now it's trading just beneath, literally just beneath 10 cents right now. It has a market cap of around 17 to 18 million at this current time. Now there is a fully diluted of 100 million, so we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. But again, this is just more of a breakdown on that on that fundraising that they did. So you see 10 million here in fundraising. Now if we actually take a look at the IEO, which again occurred earlier this year, was 10 cents was IEO, so they're actually currently down. People who got involved in the IEO was actually currently down, but that was only about $40,000, nothing huge there. Now the seed round, which was back in 2022, that is actually the $6 million part, that was 4 cents. So those guys are still up about 2.5x currently right now. Now that's always worth making note of. But if you actually take a look at it, so again, we see about 20% of the tokens are actually in current circulation right now. That's where we see that $19 million circulating market cap. One thing, I don't know if this is correct. It might be, but if so, that's insane that the private round is actually a 6-year cliff. I don't know if that's exactly correct. Again, we can look at their white paper here at Tokenomics. If it decides to load, yep, there it is. But I thought that was pretty crazy there. So if we actually look at, if I cannot blow that up. Okay, so yeah, private round. It says the cliff is, it looks like 0. So I don't know if that's correct. Somebody let me know in the comments below if you guys are 100% certain that that is right. I don't know because it looks like it's either 6 or 0 at a private round. I don't know. I just saw that and I thought that was pretty insane to have a 6-year cliff. I don't know if they're going to update that or not. So that's a little asterisk there. But either way, still, you have strong cliffs on, team, any, private investor or pre-sale investors, advisors, the public distribution's already done. Liquidity's, halfway about there. And then the community slash ecosystem. So pretty strong as far as vesting schedule goes. Now, again, we saw that there was about just a little under 20% of the supply currently out. Now, if we go towards the end, November of 2025, there's only going to be 40% of the supply out by that point. So we're looking at a dilution of a 2x between now and the end of 2025. They do monthly unlocks, which right now, at least until July next year, it's only about 1% of the supply. And then July of next year, it actually goes up to about 2.5% and then back to 2%. So nothing crazy, but that's when the team starts getting their tokens next year. So nothing crazy, but again, a 2x in dilution between now and the end of 2025 Gaming could run before then, or it couldn't. Nobody really knows, but still, in my opinion, obviously nothing I say here is financial advice, but in my opinion, I think a 2x dilution between now and the end of the supposed top of the bull run, if we go off the 4-year cycle, again, big asterisk, nobody knows, but a 2x dilution isn't a lot. I mean, you guys know, if you guys have been around the channel, we've covered newer gaming projects that really, they have a 10 to 15x in dilution between now and then. So when you look at projects like this, and those are single individual games that have those crazy dilutions, which makes it very not appealing or hard to justify investing into those at this current time. Now, obviously, in a gaming run, that mindset changes quite a bit. But when you look at a project that's an actual full-on fledged ecosystem like this, they actually have their Ethereum layer 2, for gaming, strong backers, and the big thing I want to point out here is their exchange listings are in line. I mean, this launched out the gate with a Coinbase exchange listing, which is pretty insane. We've seen other projects, as far as gaming go, launch day one Coinbase this year. Stuff like Carrot, Pirate Nation, Block Lords. Those three, I believe, are the main ones this year in 2024 recently that have launched. And we've seen Carrot do pretty well trading sideways, holding levels. We've seen it do pretty well. Pirate did extremely well. And Block Lords, I think, held for a little bit, but obviously we just had a huge dip over this last weekend, so it's kind of an unfair advantage to look at such a newer chart like that. If it hadn't happened, that huge crash, maybe it would have held pretty all right, but the point is we've seen gaming projects that have launched day one on Coinbase hold pretty all right versus stuff that doesn't. So, but still, if we go down the line, they have Coinbase, so obviously a tier 1, Bybit, Get.io, HTX, Mexi, BitGet, and then that's about it for exchange listings, I believe. So they are in Ethereum, but I assume that they are going to maybe have their mainnet in the future. It is interesting why they are only on Ethereum. Since the fact they are built on Optimism and Celestia or just some other chain, I would like to see something. It's either an Optimism contract, even Celestia. I know those aren't really gaming chains, but even just something, even Base. Base would have been nice if they would have had like a Base contract just to avoid Ethereum fees, because that's the whole point of their L2, that they point on. I don't know. I always get a little picky when gaming, doesn't have, stuff alternative to Ethereum as far as contract. If you want to go decentralized or just store it in a wallet, but if you want to go centralized exchange, again, obviously they have their exchange listings in line. So as far as exchange listings go, this project gets an A+ in my book, and the dilution isn't much. They have good volume. Granted, they just launched literally. And speaking of which, again, they launched mid-July at about 23 cents, 20 cents around there. And then they did climb all the way up to 32 cents. And now we have obviously crashed. We've obviously came down, especially with the recent market dip. But, I think at one point this thing was over 50 million in market cap. And then recently here it got like 15 million with obviously the whole crash when Bitcoin wicked down to it's like 49K here recently, and then it has bounced quite nicely here. Nothing crazy, but it has bounced. Now, because it is a new gaming altcoin, regardless of the fact that it has that Coinbase listing going for it, like previous gaming altcoins, it's still a kind of a bearish sentiment in the markets right now. Obviously, we've still seen the crash over this last weekend. Things have bounced, but it's easy to bounce when Bitcoin was literally just went down to 49K. You still have to zoom out the bigger picture here. I don't expect gaming to run anytime soon. What I mean by that, I don't expect it to run this month, next month. We have rate cuts on the horizon. Traditionally, there has been a dump after a rate cuts announcement. If that goes through, and I believe it does, it will obviously. They're going to do something here, in my opinion. I think they've been confirmed. So, point is, I think this project potentially could continue to go a little bit lower, but they have good dilution. They don't have any unlocks here until about 9 days from now, so mid-August. But again, even that unlock is nothing crazy. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated here. But I like what I see here with Ancient8. I do like the Coinbase listing. Again, I think people are going to flock to gaming coins when the market turns bullish, because it's just easier for new investors to get their hands on this kind of stuff when they have those tier 1 exchange listings versus just a decentralized or a DEX. It's a lot easier for new investors to get there because most people in their first cycle don't even know what a DEX is. They don't use DEXs. They don't get it. They just use exchange listings, which is fine. That's why you look for centralized exchange listings, and it's just more accessibility to new liquidity flowing into their ecosystem. And again, the fact that they're building their own layer 2 for gaming, I it does make me bullish. I want to see what projects outside of these games, because nothing here is crazy in my opinion. I do want to see what if other projects decide to build on Ancient8. But I do like everything I see. Let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think of this project here? Again, I like the exchange listings, the dilution. I wish they had a base contract or just something other than Ethereum. But again, potentially they're going to have their mainnet in the future. And I do like the ecosystem that they're building out, the different tools that they have for developers, different games getting onboarded. They have an accelerator program as well for, I believe, newer games. They had an airdrop for this as well that I believe is, has already been distributed. And it is at a pretty low market cap, but it is a newer gaming altcoin, or just newer altcoin in a bearish sentiment market right now. So I do expect this to maybe go a little bit sideways, if not go further down. But nothing I say, again, is financial advice. Just bringing the project to your attention because I do like what I see here. And if you guys are interested in newer projects or want to see what I'm doing in these markets, there's a couple ways. I have my Patreon. That's a great way of supporting the channel, and I really appreciate it. But that's optional. Otherwise, I do have the free Discord linked below in the description. If you guys want to get in there, talk to our community, get in there, ask questions, or try to talk to me directly. I try to get in there as much as I can, and I appreciate everyone in there. Otherwise, if you got value out of today's video, if you guys can consider liking the video, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right. See you guys.